So you've committed to 5 and 6?
Yeah. So, the BBC have committed.
Well,
we can commit to as many series as we want.
No, but you're in the sort of lucky position now where actually it's about you committing, really, isn't it?
No, it never is.
Do people still say no now? Do you still get
of course. Yeah, people have been saying no all year.
Oh, have they?
Oh, yeah. I mean, commissioning is a tough environment for programme makers to engage with, and it's still so much easier for people to say no than to back a project. In terms of line of duty, we've had fantastic support from the BBC in one particular way, which is that I've made it clear that if we don't get commissioned for 2 series ahead, because of all the loose ends, then we have to approach the next one as being the last. So when we had Series 5 commissioned, when Series 4 did well, we asked for Series 6 and the BBC said yes. So that was great, and that's really rare to get that level of support.
It really is. Okay, so we have time for a few questions, particularly from our audience that have come in, from the public. Any questions? Gentleman there first. Microphone. The microphone was going to come to you.
Obviously, there's a very different impact on sort of looking at policing. What kind of reactions do you get from actual police officers, both within anti-corruption and just normal police officers? Do they welcome the fact that you're kind of shining a light that there is maybe some corruption that goes on, or do they not like it? What sort of feedback do you get from police you meet?
I mean, it varies. I mean, I don't think there's a universal police attitude to anything. You know, policing is very factionalised, and officers do very different jobs depending on what their particular role is. Certainly, in terms of the official response, we don't get cooperation officially. So we have to use officers who are recently retired, or serving officers who advise us anonymously.
Right.
But police corruption is a very sensitive subject, and so I think that's the reason that we don't get that cooperation. I think honest officers are quite ashamed of the fact that there's corruption in the police, and maybe some of them wish that we weren't shining a light on that. And then I think others have a view which is that it's really important for an organisation to police itself. And the fact is that what we don't do is show a police organisation which doesn't care about corruption. We actually show an organisation which is committed to rooting it out. And our heroes are people who go after bent coppers and try and bring them to justice. So in that sense, we're showing the police in a positive way.
Anybody else? Anyone else? Just there at the back. Yep, lady there.
Hello. Do you have a macro story arc in mind for each of the AC-12 characters? Do you know how they walk off into the sunset?
Good question.
Vicky would like to know.
Do I sleep in a car again?
No, to a certain extent. I mean, the fact is that we don't know how long we're going to go on for. And so therefore the meta-narrative of the series I think has been pretty clearly established now. There is some kind of hidden relationship between police officers who are present in the series or are referenced in the series and organised crime, and that's something that will continue to be investigated. In terms of the individual exit stories for the characters, no, that isn't planned. It's something that will probably develop organically as we go on. Really, when we find out how long we're going to be on the air, and also, I mean, part of it comes from the cast. You know, I've always said to Vicky and Martin and Adrian, you know, when you're not happy, let us know, and you know we'll talk about whether you want to leave the series in a dramatic way, and we keep
definitely dramatic. Wherever I'm going, it's got to be dramatic.
Explosions and everything. Anybody else? Gentleman just here. Where's the mic? Do you want to come down? Just here, in the blue shirt.
I'm interested in the process. When you talked about the lengthy interviews, I'm interested in the process that takes place in doing that. Because it must be really challenging to do, and how the editing takes place after that. How does all of that work?
Well, we genuinely just spend a long time learning the lines, because Lenny James set the stall sort of from the first series when he had his first interrogation and said, I want to run it as a full scene. And everyone was like, surely we're just going to break it up. And it actually worked perfectly, because it adds that tension and sort of recording noise and, you know, all those things that have become, you know, a sort of staple in Line of Duty.
Yeah.
So a lot of preparation, and then we spend probably, I don't know, it takes about 2.5 days all in all to do one of those sort of 20-30 page interrogation scenes.
Wow.
And, you know, we discuss heavily on who's going to go first. And we do have sort of rehearsals the night before, and do you know what, it's not wanting to be the one to let the side down, so everybody's always massively prepared. So we've all got a lot of respect for each other. We've all spent a lot of time and effort making sure that we're not the one that forgets the line right when somebody's, you know, in that sort of tense moment. And I've got to say, as hard as they are, they're my favourite scenes, because that's where you sort of build, and it's, you know, poor sound guy.
Do you rehearse them before? Or
Yeah,
you just go
but
straight into it?
we spend, I mean, me, AD and Martin all live in the same apartment, so we're always running scenes, and those especially. And then the night before, usually we all get together, and everybody that's in the scene and you. And
we do a run through the night before where we just make sure all the audio visual stuff is right.
Oh,
so
yeah, all
it's
the
all
props.
like going through all the bits where they kind of say item, reference, whatever.
Yeah.
The actors need to have that,
To
the
have,
right
yeah.
piece there, and then
Yeah.
and organise it so it's in the right order
Order.
for you guys, and when they manipulate the screens, that's all done for real.
Right.
So all those
Yeah.
things, that's the real benefit of that rehearsal process.
Yeah.
Martin and AD don't deal with props, though. It really annoys me. 'Cause they're just like, oh, you can do that.
You do that.
So I'm like, I've got to turn that page, flick the iPad, say my line, and, you know, there's a lot going on. Yeah.
How much ends up on the cutting room floor?
Well, we tend to shoot a couple minutes longer than the running time, just for safety. So we do often lose scenes from an episode. In terms of those long interview scenes, occasionally we'll cut little bits out, you know, just to speed things up, or occasionally we'll remove a whole minute or two of a section of something where we feel we can advance through it a bit faster.
Yeah.
But yeah, we lose scenes in every series, and you know, that's always a very difficult part of the editing process to decide what to keep, because the scenes are there for a reason. And sometimes you have to look at other ways of telling that bit of story if there just isn't time for a particular scene.